Hey guys, Jerobi Tech here, and we're taking a look at two very different phones, and many may be wondering, why are we comparing these two phones? One was a flagship from a little bit ago, and the other is a sort of flagship, or a slightly less of a flagship that just came out. But for me, I was actually looking at both of these phones personally. The Note 20 Ultra, for the reason of having the S Pen, and the S21 FE, because I love phones that compete with flagships but come in at a lower price. So those always interest me. The other thing to look at here is the Note 20 Ultra I picked up off Amazon renewed for between $800 and $900. You can get it. If you look on eBay, you can get them in like new mint condition for between $700 and $800. So the price difference isn't actually that far off, with the S21 FE coming in at $699, and the Note 20 Ultra can be found for lower prices, refurbished or in used mint condition. They're actually not too far off. So it kind of does make sense that someone might be looking at both these phones and wondering, should I go with the older flagship phone with the S Pen, and wow, does it look really nice? Or should I go with the newer phone with the better processor in it? I personally was looking at these two phones, and I think others might be too. And I think it's an interesting look at where these phones are at in the market, because obviously, again, is it good to get an older flagship, or is it better to get a newer sub-tier flagship in the S21 FE? But taking a look at both of these phones, obviously design-wise, these could not be more different from each other. Personally, I do not like ginormous phones. And that's kind of what, in my opinion, the Note 20 Ultra is. It is a ginormous phone. Just holding it in the hand, it's pretty heavy. Not going to be as heavy as the S22 Ultra coming out, but still pretty hefty phone. The S21 FE, on the other hand, fits nice in the hand. It's more comfortable. It's lighter. And if we're looking at the dimensions, the Note 20 Ultra is coming in at 208 grams, or 7.34 ounces, while the S21 FE is coming in at 177 grams, or 6.24 ounces. So definitely the lighter, more one-handable phone is the S21 FE. So if that's something you care about, that's something to keep in mind. This is certainly not a one-handed phone, but it is beautiful, I will say that. Now, looking at the actual construction, as you can see, Note 20 Ultra being a flagship when it came out, glass back, looks beautiful. I love the way this phone looks. I honestly think this is like one of the nicest looking Samsung phones. Personally, I know some people hated the camera bump, thought it was too big, but I think this is such a nice looking phone, especially in this white color. It's just a classy looking phone with metal on the sides. Meanwhile, the S21 FE, again, plastic back. So bit of a difference there. It's going to come down to personal preference. I personally don't care if the back is glass or plastic. I care more that the phone is lighter and easier to use. So for me, the S21 FE would take that round for how it feels. It just feels better. This is certainly the more premium phone, the Note 20 Ultra, definitely more premium, but the S21 FE more comfortable to use and lighter. So I personally like that. Now, if we're looking at the screens, the Note 20 Ultra is coming in at 6.9 inches, and it is HDR10 Plus certified, and it has a resolution of 1440 by 3088. So this is a QHD panel. Now, we'll get into more of that later on if you want the 120 hertz, but it does have 120 hertz, just not at that full resolution. Looking at the S21 FE, 6.4 inches, and it is 120 hertz also, HDR10 Plus certified, and it's coming in at 1080 by 2400 pixels. When we're looking at these two screens, I had mentioned the S21 FE review that It wasn't quite as good of a panel as Samsung's top phones like the Note 20 Ultra, the S21 Ultra, and I'm sure the S22 Ultra and all the S22 phones that are coming out soon. But honestly, after holding them right next to each other, I gotta say the difference is minute. They are both very nice looking panels. Now, I personally, this is what I wanted to talk about. I keep the Note 20 Ultra at the 1080p resolution with the 120 hertz because on the Note 20 Ultra, unfortunately, and as you can see, I'm struggling to reach with one hand on this thing. But the Note 20 Ultra, when you are choosing motion, you have to have the resolution at 1080p to get the 120 hertz. You can't have it at the top QHD resolution and get the smooth refresh rate. So a little bit unfortunate there. I know a lot of people were bothered by that when this came out, and obviously the S21 Ultra did not have that issue because so many people complained about it. So you could put it at the highest resolution and have the 120 hertz refresh rate. On the S21 FE, you do not have that issue because this doesn't go up to a higher resolution. It is just a 1080p panel. That is it. I don't think that's a big deal. Personally, I think the average person, the average human is not going to notice much of a difference. Again, you can lower both these down to 60 hertz if you'd like to get better battery life, but I'd say keep them both at 120. I think it looks really nice. No need to lower it down to 60 because both of these, as I'm going to talk about later, have good enough battery life to keep it at the 120 hertz so the screen looks really nice. Now looking at the internals, the new S21 FE has the Snapdragon 888, of course, and my model has the 6 gigs of RAM and 128 gigs of storage. The Note 20 Ultra, on the other hand, has the Snapdragon 865, and it has 12 gigs of RAM. So the storage, as far as the RAM is concerned, there's different options for each. I don't notice much of a difference as far as like things being kept in memory. I don't think it's much of an issue. Actually, here, I'll try to see if I can give an example here. All the things that I was using the phone for, it seems like it holds them pretty darn well on both. Now, if I was really pushing this, I'm sure the Note 20 Ultra would hold more of the apps in memory and be able to reload them. But I'm talking day-to-day use. I haven't noticed much of a difference in the apps having to reload on either phone. So yes, it's nice that the Note 20 Ultra gives you the option to have even more RAM. There's obviously this goes up to 12 gigabytes of RAM, and this only goes up to 8 if you get the 256 gigabyte version. So the S21 FE cannot have as much RAM. There is not a model that has more than 8 gigabytes of RAM. So if that's something that you really care about as far as gaming or holding the apps in memory, the Note 20 is going to be better. But as far as processor speed, I'm going to be honest with you guys, these are practically exactly the same. I do not notice much of a difference in day-to-day usage in loading apps. If we go in here, try to go to both of these. And what I noticed with YouTube is it seems like the Note 20 Ultra goes to YouTube like a split second quicker, maybe a hair quicker, which is surprising, this being the older phone. But honestly, when opening apps, I'm noticing barely any difference between the two processors. So if you're worried about getting the 865 and it being too old of a processor, honestly, I wouldn't. The Note 20 still runs like it is a, buttery smooth brand new phone. You wouldn't even notice that this is an older phone if you didn't know anything about it. If you were going to the store and you knew nothing about the Note 20 Ultra, if you saw it, you'd think it's a brand new phone, modern phone with the design. If you just use the UI and just flip through everything, I mean, it is really, really smooth. One difference too, on the S21 FE, you get the Google feed. On the Note 20 Ultra, you don't. It's the Samsung version of it, which I have disabled because personally, I was not a big fan of it, and Samsung free, which, I could turn back on. I don't like this. I don't know. It's it is what it is. And maybe there's a way to get the Google feed, but I'm not sure of how to do it. As far as I know, it's a little annoying. I wish it did have the Google feed. I wish Samsung had just given in and given that to us earlier, but they did not. Now, when we're looking at as far as memory, the Note 20 Ultra does have an SD card slot, so you can expand the memory. And the S21 FE, of course, does not, unfortunately. Now, looking at the cameras between the two of these, bit of a difference here. The S21 FE, yeah, bit of a difference. There's an extreme difference. The S21 FE has 3 cameras, just like the S20 FE. It basically has the exact same setup: a 12 megapixel wide angle, a 8 megapixel telephoto, and a 12 megapixel ultra wide camera. So about the same exact setup as last year, just a different processor. So pictures come out slightly different, really honestly looking about the same as the S20 FE. But still very good cameras for the price, in my opinion. The Note 20 Ultra, on the other hand, here's the big difference: 108 megapixels for the main camera, 12 megapixel periscope, telephoto with 5 times optical zoom and up to 50 times hybrid zoom, and then a 12 megapixel ultra wide. So, you know, that sounds like it's going to translate into a huge difference, but actually I'm going to show you guys right now as we take a look at the sample pictures. Not a major difference. The only place where I really saw the Note 20 Ultra shine over the S21 FE is in low light. Other than that, let me tell you, these are very similar. They kind of go back and forth on which one I liked. So that's impressive for the S21 FE, as I show you guys in the samples. But also along with the video recording, up to 4K video recording on the S21 FE, which is nice, again, at this price. Good to have. And then the Note 20 Ultra coming in can go all the way up to 8K at 24 frames per second. I think most people will be using the 4K or 1080p, but nice that this can do 8K. I do appreciate that. Again, we'll take a look at the samples and I will show you guys what I'm talking about as far as these going back and forth, and we'll take a look at those now. So when taking a look at these two cameras, they are very similar, but there are some key differences. So in this first shot, it looks pretty good in the S21 FE. This is with night mode, and this was definitely a lower lit scene, so pretty darn good. But when we look at the Note 20 Ultra, it is certainly brighter with its night mode. It just is clearer, there's more detail, it looks like a better shot overall. Taking a look at the next shot, we have a 3 times optical zoom shot with the S21 FE. Pretty good, nice contrast, nice detail. Note 20 Ultra at 5 times optical zoom, not looking as good. Lower detail. I mean, the wildflower is clear, but overall not great. Here's 30 times zoom at the S21 FE, which is the highest zoom level. It's pretty good. It's not fantastic though. And this is the 30 times hybrid zoom on the Note 20 Ultra, which looks much clearer and a lot better, and that is one of the clear advantages on the Note 20 Ultra. Here we're taking a look at the wide angle on the S21 FE. Pretty good, not too bad. And the wide angle on the Note 20 Ultra, also pretty good. Honestly, not much of a difference between them. Here's the main camera on the S21 FE. Pretty good. Again, nice contrast levels. And the main camera on the Note 20 Ultra. I like this shot a little bit better. I think there is more detail in the shot, but again, it's very, very close. S21 FE close-up, no macro camera, but pretty good detail level. I was actually impressed with the S21 FE on this shot. And then the Note 20 Ultra, actually, in my opinion, is a worse shot. I feel like there's actually less detail, even though it's a 108 megapixel camera. Not quite as good. Same with this one, S21 FE, pretty good on the detail level on the close-up. Very impressed. Note 20 Ultra, again, very narrow focus. This is 108 megapixels, and honestly, I don't think it looks better, which is shocking. Moonshot with the S21 FE at 30 times hybrid zoom. Not bad, pretty good. I'm glad that all these phones can do it. Note 20 Ultra at 50 times, pretty good too. I think they're about the same in my opinion. And then the selfie shot, S21 FE, good shot. Note 20 Ultra, also a good shot. Going to be personal preference. And here is the wide angle. Looks very different on the viewfinder from each phone. And here's the S21 FE at 12 times zoom. Note 20 Ultra, 20 times zoom. That is as far as it's letting me zoom. Now, as far as the fingerprint scanners, obviously both of them have the in-screen fingerprint scanner. So the S21 FE is very reliable, very quick. The Note 20 Ultra also very reliable, very quick. I'd say if I had to pick one over the other, the S21 FE seems to work probably about 9 out of 10 times, almost every single time. I never really miss it. The Note 20 Ultra, probably like 8 out of 10 times. It's still really good. It's very, very close, but I'd say, honestly, if I had to pick one over the other, as far as works every time and as far as speed, I'd say the S21 FE, wow, I'm merging words together. The S21 FE is slightly faster. The speaker quality, if we are looking at both of them head to head, both have dual speakers, one at the top and one at the bottom. They both sound really good, very, very close. If I'm going to go into these, I'm going to say as far as price, get this one or get an S21. I'm gonna show you guys the top volume here for what it is and just how mediocre it really was. So personally, I recommend this phone. I think it is. Just think that phone is way, way overpriced for what it is and just how mediocre it really was. So personally, I recommend this phone. I think it is. And I know over video, these never come through very well. I love how every reviewer just plays different sounds and stuff. It's so hard to tell which one's better over video, to be completely honest with you. Now, being in person and holding both of the phones, I will say the Note 20 Ultra, in my opinion, has fuller sounding speakers by a little bit. As far as loudness wise, they're both about the same, but I'd say the Note 20 Ultra sounds better and fuller. S21 FE, still pretty dang good. It's not bad by any means, and it's better than most of the budget mid-range phones out there right now, but definitely not as good as the top phones. That is one area that I notice the Note 20 Ultra wins. Now, personally for me, having the S Pen is a huge benefit for my job. I need to get signatures from clients as a contractor, so having this, being able to sign documents when I'm done with the job, is awesome. You know, I know for the average person, the average human out there, probably not going to use this a whole lot. Probably only hardcore Note fans are going to be using this all the time. Or if you're a graphic designer, you're into art, you know, taking notes, stuff like that. Probably the average person, though, that average human out there, probably not using this a whole ton and probably doesn't care the phone has this. And that's probably why not many phones have S Pens, which I think is a bummer. Or not S Pens, but a stylus in general. There's really not many phones with a stylus. So that's a bit of a bummer, but I think it's very useful. I like it. I wish more phones had it, and I'm looking forward to seeing the S22 Ultra when it comes out. I'd love to compare it to this to see how much better it is. Not having the S Pen on this, not a huge deal. Again, it's just a subjective thing for me with my job. It is nice to have the S Pen, but both of these phones are just so buttery smooth. If I had to pick one, which one was smoother? Honestly, S21 FE is probably a little bit smoother, guys. It's surprising, but it's just a hair smoother with 120 hertz versus the 120 hertz on the Note 20 Ultra. Don't know why, but you know, probably because it's a newer phone. Samsung did a really good job, you know, with this cheaper flagship option for the S21 FE. So very impressive, honestly. When looking at the two screens, yeah, like I said, I'd say the S21 FE just a little bit maybe more vibrant, more saturated, as you can see right there. You know, again, these wallpapers that I made, which I think showcase it pretty well. And honestly, I don't know why it's looking more black than the Note 20 Ultra in the black area, like as far as how deep the black is. Both have, you know, fantastic viewing angles. I don't know, S21 FE has surprised me. I didn't realize how good it was until I was holding it next to the Note 20 Ultra. This is a very nice screen, and it's a very good phone. As far as battery life is concerned, if I take a look at the usage that I've had, the S21 FE, I'm getting over 7 hours pretty easily every day. The Note 20 Ultra, I get around 5 to 6 hours. So both are very good on battery, but the S21 FE is definitely better on battery life. Again, there's a lot of pros to this. It's not like just a landslide win for the Note 20 Ultra. There's only certain cases where I think the Note 20 Ultra is better. There's a lot more cases where I think the S21 FE is better for the average human. I really think this is a good phone that unfortunately is getting attacked a little bit for the price, and I think rightfully so, as I brought out in my full review. It is a little more expensive than I think most people would like to pay, but for what it is and when it came out. But honestly, it's not a bad phone. It's a very good phone. It's a solid device from Samsung. Just unfortunate timing. The Note 20 Ultra, still a solid option. So to round it out, what I would say, the Note 20 Ultra is the better buy if you can find it at a good price on eBay or Amazon. I got this renewed off Amazon again, and it's like, it looks brand new. It looks really good. You know, if you can find it for a good price that's comparable to this, the Note 20 Ultra, if you want a giant phone. If you want a giant phone with the S Pen, if you care more about the speakers, and you want that crazy 50 times zoom, and 108 megapixel camera, 108 megapixel, oh, I'm like slurring my words, 108 megapixel camera, this is the one to go with. The S21 FE, I'd say if you want a more pocket-friendly, more one-handable phone, better price, newer processor, and better battery life, I think this is your go-to. Screens are about the same. Batteries are very similar, but the S21 FE definitely does win. It just seems to get better screen on time. They're close, man. They're really, really close. I think these are both fantastic phones. I don't think you can go wrong with either. But with the S22s around the corner, once again, these are probably going to drop in price even more. So that's something to keep in mind. These are awesome options, guys. You don't have to get the S22 series that is coming out. When these start to drop down, I don't see these as inferior phones or phones that you're going to get and be like, oh man, I wish I got the S22 because these are so bad. These are great. These are really, really solid phones. So if you guys have any questions, leave them in the comments section. And I appreciate all you guys for watching. And hopefully I'll be pumping out more videos with the Note 20 Ultra and the S21 FE against the new S22 series that should be coming out soon. I am very curious to see how that plays out, and I'll let you guys know if I have any issues with the Note 20 Ultra since I recently got it. So far, smooth sailing with both. I have not had any major issues, which is awesome. I think Samsung's really killing it, and you really can't go wrong with their older phones, or I think the newer phones coming out, the S22 series, looking to be pretty awesome too. So we'll see. It's coming out in a couple days. But I will see you guys in the next one.